Former U.S. President and Republican candidate Donald Trump has returned to the Pennsylvania town where he was targeted in an assassination attempt in July. Security was extra tight for Saturday's event. With just 1 month until the election, polls show a close race, including in the key battleground state of Pennsylvania. Trump urged supporters to deliver an election day victory and vowed to, quote, never quit.
Nearly 3 months after a sniper's bullet narrowly missed killing the former president, the Trump train has returned to Butler, Pennsylvania, complete with higher security and merchandise commemorating the assassination attempt on July 13th. Trump spoke defiantly about the events that day, which left him wounded and one of his supporters dead, after a man with a rifle was able to take up position on a nearby rooftop and fire on the Republican candidate as he addressed the crowd.
For 16 harrowing seconds during the gunfire, time stopped as this vicious monster unleashed pure evil from his sniper's perch, not so far away. But by the hand of Providence and the grace of God, that villain did not succeed in his goal, did not come close.
For tech billionaire Elon Musk, it was the first appearance at a Trump rally. He urged listeners to tell everyone they knew to register to vote and framed the election as a last stand for American democracy.
Not just MAGA, I'm dark MAGA.
Text people now. Now. Oh, and then make sure they actually do vote. If they don't, this will be the last election. That's my prediction. Nothing's more important.
Trump's campaign has lost some steam since his last trip to Butler. Back then, he was ahead of President Joe Biden in the polls. Now he's trailing Vice President Kamala Harris by a narrow margin. The voters here in Pennsylvania will have a big say when Election Day comes.
For more, I'm joined by journalist William Glucrof, deputy editor of Parliament magazine. William, how much could Elon Musk's appearance at Trump's rally influence his chances, particularly among young male voters who seem to really admire Musk?
Well, that does seem to be one of the strategies that the Trump campaign is going after in its, neck and neck race with the Harris campaign, because this election, as many elections, at least in my lifetime, are really being decided on the margins, right? Most people have made up their minds. Most people have very strong opinions one way or the other. So smaller groups, niche groups like young male voters, for example, and a very particular kind of young male voter that's turned on by the world of Elon Musk and sort of this techno-feudal vision that he has for American society, could be energized to turn out the vote, especially in key places like Pennsylvania. And that is what, and this goes for the Harris campaign as well, but that is what the Trump campaign was really banking on, that these small groups in small ways can be those few thousand votes that are necessary to get one campaign or the other over the finish line.
It's very fascinating because you've Elon Musk with young male voters on one side and possibly Taylor Swift with young female voters. It's a Musk versus Swift election in some ways. So Musk has come kind of a long way given his previous criticisms of Trump, right? He's gone 180.
Yeah, as have a lot of current Trump allies. I mean, these are all fair weather friends. Trump himself loves to say that his priority is always doing business and making deals. And when you're making deals, you're looking for people who don't have to be your best friends, but just align, whose interests align, right? And so right now, Elon Musk is seeing those interests aligning, whether it's any political ambitions he might have or just preserving his tech domain. And of course, he of course wants good relations with the government. He's under his many companies are under a lot of pressure, both in the United States and back here in the European Union, for misinformation, for monopolistic practices and these sorts of things. So these are interests aligning. In 2016, Elon Musk was not alone in discounting Donald Trump because they didn't think he had a real shot of becoming president. Of course, all these years later, we know it's a very different situation. And, that gives people a reason to rethink their previous positions. What Elon Musk really thinks, what's really going on in his head, just like Donald Trump, is almost irrelevant. It's about what they're projecting and the interests that are aligning between these two individuals.
And of course, we also have to remember that J.D. Vance, the vice presidential candidate with Trump, once was a critic of Trump as well and has done
Perfect
a
example.
180. Yeah. So, you mentioned this. Musk has promoted conspiracy theories and disinformation on his social media platform, X. Do we know the extent to which the platform's algorithms can or have influenced the election?
Well, of course, we won't know till the die is cast in November, but there is a great amount of scrutiny. Social media in general, right? The internet in general has become just a cesspool for misinformation across all kinds of platforms. And there have been efforts, again, both in the United States and in the European Union, to try to police that a little bit. Given Elon Musk's so-called free speech declarations, although, of course, it's very much his idea of free speech and free expression. X or Twitter, whatever we're calling it these days, really is under a microscope for people who are interested in this and concerned about these issues. We saw that this AI chatbot of Twitter's or X's had to be sort of retooled a bit when secretaries of state across the United States, and these are the people that are in charge of elections in the U.S., came out and criticized the misinformation that this AI chatbot was giving users on X. And not directing users to official and trustworthy information about things like ballot initiatives and when people had to register to vote and these kinds of rules to make sure people can vote and have access to elections. So X is under a lot of scrutiny, but of course it is by no means alone. Facebook, YouTube, all of these platforms, it's a big open question, the extent to which they are policing their platforms. And all these platforms, including X, have laid off a lot of people that are needed to do this kind of work.
Journalist William Glucrof, thank you for joining us.